It's a normal day in Japan. Everything is as usual, except for a small odd thing. A damn meteorite is about to hit Earth and wipe out life on the planet. A 17-year-old girl named Natsu wakes up on a strange ship in the middle of a storm. Natsu accidentally falls into the waters, but some people save her and bring her on a lifeboat. All of them are confused, as none of them remember how they got onto that ship. They continue drifting until they reach an island, which they start investigating. One of them, Semimaru, is proven to be a full-time grade pervert as he touches the girls' butts and waves them off as if nothing happened. So, another guy named Arashi scolds Semimaru and treats Natsu with kindness. Semimaru tries to pick a fight with Arashi, but they are interrupted by the eldest girl in the group, Botan. After they all find water, they write help on the group and prepare to look for food. Semimaru tries to bully Natsu and makes her do his part of the work. When Botan finds out, she scolds Natsu for being so submissive. She advises her to be more assertive and sends her to find food. Meanwhile, somewhere else, a girl named Hana can be seen running away from lots and lots of creepy animals. They are just about to kill Hana, but her comrades come and save her. She returns the favor by killing other monsters using her boomerang. However, one of her comrades, called Yanagi, gets stung. They all go back to their camp, which is on the water near the beach. These people have been here for the last 2 weeks and have established a sort of system. The dude named Yanagi is their leader, and he's a bit of an a-hole. He is bossy and rude and wants people to follow his commands without question. He even slaps Hana and another guy when they disobey his orders. After that, he forcefully makes them row out to sea in search of new land. That night, Hana is keeping watch, but Yanagi comes and tries to force himself on her. Just then, a storm comes and shakes everything. One of the passengers gets swept aboard, so Hana jumps into the water to save her. She manages to save the girl, and they get swept back to the island. But they get trapped by the monster insects. Yanagi tries to use the unconscious girl as bait to escape, but the group fights back. In the scuffle, he falls off the cliff and to the monsters. Hana, being the goody-good girl that she is, tries to save him, but the others prevent her from being such a dumbass. They go back to the beach and the group gets depressed thinking about their helpless situation. As they continue talking, Yanagi comes out of the forest. Elsewhere, a group wakes up from cryogenic sleep. When a man approaches and says that he'll be their leader, all the people pull out their guns and shoot the everlasting crap out of him. Why did they do that? We'll get to that soon enough. Back to the second group, Yanagi says that he defeated the bugs all by himself to survive. But Hana notices his hand twitching suspiciously. Back to the first group, Natsu brings a mushroom to eat. Arashi eats it, but it turns out to be poisonous and he gets sick. As he is recovering, Arashi says that Botan is way too prepared for survival, as if she knew something like this might happen. Later, Botan says they need more food to survive. This reminds Natsu of the time back in the boat when she said that there should be more people out here. Since Botan seems to be hiding something, Arashi and Natsu decide to leave in secret. As they leave, Arashi talks about his girlfriend, who turns out to be Hana. Suddenly, Arashi and Natsu get attacked by giant carnivorous plants. Elsewhere, Botan and Semimaru also get attacked by vicious rats. Arashi and Natsu get saved by a strange man called Mozu. Mozu kills the dangerous animals and gives them tips on survival. Botan also kills the rats, and she reveals that she used to be a police officer. Mozu tells them that they are part of a government project. Botan and Semimaru also arrive. Botan reveals that she is their guide, and she explains everything. It was discovered that a meteoroid would hit Earth and destroy all life on our planet. In the worst case, the Seven Seeds Project was created. Each country would put selected people in cryogenic sleep to ensure that humanity would continue existing even after the meteoroid struck Earth. Turns out, the meteoroid did end up hitting Earth and destroying all civilizations and people. They are the Japanese people who have now woken up. There are 5 teams in the Japan system: Summer A, Summer B, Autumn, Winter, and Spring. Botan's group is Summer B. The people were selected based on special conditions calculated by a computer. Arashi does not accept this story, and he starts crying about his girlfriend Hana, thinking that she might be dead. Meanwhile, Yanagi takes his group to a strange place. One group member, named Mansaku, asks Yanagi about the project, but he takes them to a hole in a tree and says that the key to their freedom is in there. As they walk inside, Yanagi's fingers start twitching. Hana notices this and realizes that the insects have laid their eggs inside Yanagi. Just then, he goes weak and little insects come out. More giant insects try to attack them, so they all scream at Yanagi to wake up. Yanagi uses all his strength and tells him that they are called Team Spring. He tells them to find the 7 Fujis. Then he takes a lighter and burns himself. With his last heroic sacrifice, all the others in Team Spring manage to survive. Mansaku and Hana say that Yanagi was a hero for saving them, but a boy named Haru gets depressed because all he wanted to do was play the piano and win piano competitions. He tries to drown himself, but Hana stops him and convinces him to continue living. Then they continue sailing west as Yanagi told them to. Arashi dreams about the past, having cute couple moments with Hana. Later, Botan takes them all to the highest peak nearby. On the way, Natsu falls, but this time Arashi does not help her. He's too worried about Hana right now. Suddenly, Natsu hears someone calling for help. It turns out to be 3 people trapped in a pond full of alligators. Botan and Mozu kill the alligators and rescue the people. The 3 introduce themselves. Matsuri is a young and energetic girl with blonde hair. Yamori is a college student and, like all college students, he looks like he wants to kill himself. And Hotaru is a little girl only 12 years old. Botan says that Matsuri, Yamori, and Hotaru are the remaining members of Team Summer B. She briefs them about the 7 Seeds project they're in right now. Then, they continue finding new lands. Before leaving, Yamori has the idea of writing their names on the wall for other people to see. They take their raft northwest. Botan and Mozu reveal further details about the project. The people were chosen based on physical and mental health, and the teams were spread out all over Japan. Later, Yamori discovers a hand popping out of the sea. Arashi and Semimaru go out to investigate. It turns out to be the giant peace statue of Nagasaki, meaning Nagasaki and most other cities are now underwater. Botan says that the 7 Fuji mountains of Japan have storage shelters, so they go towards one of them. They find the shelter and open the hatch. Inside, they find lots of compartments with essentials like food, tools, fabric, and seeds to conduct agriculture. They set up their base there for now. Later, Arashi asks to go see his hometown of Tokyo in the hopes of finding Hana. Natsu decides to give him company. Deep down, she's starting to develop feelings for him. As they travel toward Tokyo, Semimaru also follows them. On the way, they come across a farmer working in the fields. But suddenly, 2 large people arrive. They kill a duck and drink its blood directly. This turns out to be the Autumn team. Team Autumn has already established a proper village. Their leader is a man named Akiwo, a woman named Ran works as his right hand. They have been awake for the past 3 years. During that time, they found their own storage shelter and built this village on top of it. That night, Ran beats up her group members because they have not fulfilled their daily chores. Akiwo and Ran have also dominated their adult guide, Izayoi, and taken control of the group. Just then, they catch Semimaru trying to steal their food. So, Akiwo ties up the Summer Bee members, branding them as thieves. That night, Akiwo and Ran converse in English to preserve that language. That night, the Autumn guide Izayoi releases them. Then, he tries to poison the communal drinking water with cyanide that was given to all guides in case they woke up in a hostile environment. Arashi and Semimaru get angry at Izayoi for losing hope, and they even punch him. Then, they destroy the cyanide and leave. The 3 talk about the poison and how Botan probably has one as well. They reach a cliff, but in order to reach the ocean, someone has to stay back to let them down. No one wants to do that. Just then, Izayoi comes and agrees to help them. Despite their caution, they trust him, and Izayoi rewards their trust by sending them away safely. Sometime later, the 3 reach land again. They talk about their sentimental past, and Semimaru reveals that his mother was a promiscuous lady who spent more time having affairs with men than spending quality time with him. Tragic backstory, but you're still an a-hole, Semimaru. Later, they reach another storage shelter, but this one is flooded. They swim through it to get to the other side. Meanwhile, Hana and Haru are floating around looking for other humans. Haru says that, despite being a pianist, he hates music because how he was forced to learn piano from a very young age by his strict parents. So, basically like Arima Kusei. Later that night, Hana says that Haru still secretly wants to play the piano because how he always wears gloves and protects his hands. So, Haru gets motivated and goes to the church piano where he drops a sick fire beat. Later, when they return to their group, Hana says that music will never die out as long as Haru is alive. Arashi, Natsu, and Semimaru finally reach the ruins of Tokyo. Arashi goes inside the water, but he gets attacked by a giant fish. But an adult man saves him. His name is Takahiro, and he is from Team Winter. However, he's the only one left alive from Team Winter. Takahiro says that he's been awake for the past 15 years. Meanwhile, Hana and the rest of Team Spring reach the flooded shelter from earlier. They are shocked to find the place so well stocked with food and other essentials. They also find a letter that Natsu left behind. As they eat dinner, Hana cries while thinking about Arashi. Elsewhere, Semimaru gets suspicious of Takahiro as he's the only survivor of his team, so he suggests that they escape at night. Natsu has her doubts, but she leaves. Takahiro knows that he's being ditched, but he does not stop them. Takahiro thinks about his own past right after they woke up in this world. Takahiro and another dude named Fubuki were extremely talented baseball players. One day, a saber-toothed tiger kills their guide and other group members. Takahiro pitches, and Fubuki bats a baseball at the tiger and stops it. Their group members die out, and only 3 of them are left: Takahiro, Fubuki, and a girl named Mitsuru, who used to perform traditional dances. Before they leave, Takahiro puts bandages on a wounded wild dog. One day, they are attacked by the same saber-toothed tiger, and Takahiro gets injured. Fubuki pulls out his knife and fights it alone. Takahiro and Mitsuru use this chance to escape. The tiger kills Fubuki and turns toward them, but the dog from earlier stops it. Once Mitsuru fixes Takahiro's wounds, she starts thinking about Fubuki. Mitsuru loved Fubuki, so she goes out to the ice and performs a traditional dance while thinking about him. She freezes to death. It wasn't the cold that killed her, it was love. Takahiro wakes up and cries in pain. Just then, Fubuki comes to him. He's still alive, and the two continue their survival journey. One day, the tiger attacks them again. This time, Takahiro takes initiative and kills the tiger. They finally reach a storage shelter. When Takahiro looks back at Fubuki with happiness, he sees the dog in his place. Fubuki actually died in the tiger attack, and it was the dog who traveled with Takahiro all this time. Takahiro only imagined Fubuki to be there. He hugs the dog as it dies from its wounds. Before dying, the dog gives birth to 2 puppies, and Takahiro raises them. Back in the present, Takahiro talks to his dogs, who have now grown up and given birth to more puppies. But 2 of them are missing. He goes to find them and comes across Hana running away from a dinosaur. He and his dogs chase the dinosaur away. Hana invites Takahiro to Team Spring. He cuts his beard and ends up looking pretty nice and clean. Kinda reminds me of Aaron Jaeger with that cut. Later, Hana's boomerang gets stuck, so Takahiro throws a rock to bring it down. Seeing his form, Hana recognizes him as the talented high school baseball player. They are supposed to be the same age, but Takahiro is 15 years older because his cryogenic sleep ended 15 years earlier. Later, it starts raining, so they hurry back. On the way, Hana accidentally touches some weird purple gooey stuff. Later that night, Hana sees her hand turning purple. The next day, she sees a dinosaur dying from the same infection. Takahiro says that there is no cure for it yet, so she hides the fact that she's already been infected. Not wishing to be a burden to anyone, she leaves in the middle of the night. She writes her team members a note saying that she's going to look for her boyfriend, Arashi. Takahiro and Haru go after Hana. She is trying to drown herself in the ocean, but they save her. They find out that Hana has been infected by the purple goo. One of the puppies goes too close, so the mother dog puts it into the ocean for a while. Takahiro realizes that salt is the cure. They reach land in a different location. There, they sit in a cave while Hana struggles with the infection. Takahiro and Haru boil the ocean water and put the salt on her arms. When they go out to get some more, Hana goes outside and falls to the ground. Suddenly, Mozu appears and asks her if she wants to die. When she does not respond, he starts strangling her. Just then, Hana sees the wall carving with the names of Team Summer B. When she sees Arashi's name, she says that she does not want to die and pushes Mozu away. Mozu walks away silently. Later, they find a location with a higher concentration of salt. Hana jumps in and her infection gets cured. Then she decides to go find Arashi. Before doing that, she cuts her hair because character development. Meanwhile, Arashi and the others find a ship that they can use. Elsewhere, Hana's group finds Team Autumn's village, but they have abandoned it because volcanic ashes have covered the whole place. Hana leaves a note just in case someone returns. Arashi's team decides to return to the rest of Team Summer B. They make plans on learning how to steer the ship to reach them. They name the ship SS Elephant and Lion. Okay, that name is way too long, so if we ever mention the ship, we're calling it the SSEAL, or SEAL. Meanwhile, Hana's group comes across Team Autumn living deep within some ruins. Akiwo and Ran, the two leaders, have gone out for some work. The adult guide Izayoi tells them that a girl named Kurumi is pregnant. That night, Team Autumn abducts Haru. Then, a boy named Ryusei, Akiwo, and Ran takes their boat. Hana, Takehiro, and Izayoi follow them, and they discover an artificial farm. The electricity and the network are still working. Ran also uses it to look closer into the place. Hana and the group find a corpse with a journal. It turns out to be a ventriloquist comedian named Mark. He and a few other celebrity performers are recruited by a man named Takashi to provide entertainment to this strange new place full of families. It turns out to be a shelter named the Ryugu Shelter. One night, the meteoroid struck Earth, causing panic amongst everyone in the Ryugu facility. But a singer named Maria, no, not Hawasa Maria, this other Maria, calmed them down. One day, a flooding incident killed many people in the facility, and they lost their food supplies too. So, Takashi sent half the people to another facility. Turns out that the other facility does not exist, and the people are being sent to be killed by a giant cutter. Takashi heartlessly tells Mark that the bodies will be used as fertilizers. But Mark and the others have to continue their duty of lifting the moods of the people in the facility. Soon after, an infection called Tick X threatened their existence. So Takashi puts everyone in quarantine. But this Tick X virus, continues spreading and killing everyone. Takashi tells Mark that the virus can be stopped if it is frozen. Then he goes and kills himself with the spinning blade. Maria also gets infected, so Mark and Maria spend one last night together doing the honka honka. In order to prevent the spread of Tick X, she sings like a Pied Piper and leads all the infected people into the freezer. Once inside, Mark seals them shut. Then he and the other celebrities eat cyanide pills with smiles on their faces. Damn, that was a sad story. In the end, Hana is shocked to see her father's picture there. Meanwhile, Akiwo, Ran, and Ryusei open the vault and see the frozen people inside. Hana's group warned them about the virus that was frozen here, so they all seal the place and leave. When they return, they are reunited with Haru. Outside, a mysterious group in PPE outfits asks them where they came from. When they hear about the virus, they get worried and shoot at Ran, but Izayoi jumps in front of her and takes the bullet. After that, the group leaves. While Ran holds Izayoi, he cries and asks if he was of any use. R.I.P. Mr. Izayoi. You weren't that great, but you were okay. Ran is full of anger at the group that just went away. They all join forces and go to Team Spring's camp, but it's no longer there and everyone is left. Meanwhile, Arashi, Natsu, and Semimaru are learning to navigate the seal. Suddenly, they see Hibari from Team Spring. Natsu notes that she looks a lot like Hotaru from their own group. Hibari turns out to be Hotaru's cousin, and she says that the members of Team Summer B are in grave danger. Elsewhere, Team Summer B members are stuck in a strange place. Matsuri is the only one who is free, and she goes looking for help. Elsewhere, Momota from Team Spring also wakes up in a strange place with some strange people. They take care of Momota while he recovers. That night, he overhears the people discussing how they will experiment on Momota, so he runs away, but they catch him. Meanwhile, the combined Team Autumn, Hana, and Takehiro finally catch up to them. They see them using Momota as bait to lure animals. Ran does some recon and realizes that this team has become really advanced with lots of developments, like running water and hand gliders. Ran sends Ryusei to abduct the hand glider girl. Later, we find out that they are Team Summer A, the team with the best youth with high intelligence and physical condition. They were specially trained for the meteor apocalypse with prior knowledge about what would happen. So they make a plan to rescue Momota from Summer-A. Takahiro creates a fire on another side. When the members go away, Hana sneaks in and takes Momota. But it turns out they did not fall for the ruse. They are about to take them again, but just then, one of Hana's friends screams at them, saying that they have captured the hand glider girl of Team Summer-A. Just then, deadly bats start attacking them. Hana takes command and lures the bats away. Takahiro and his dogs also get attacked by the bats, but the other members of Team Summer-A save them and they take care of his dogs. Once they catch their breath, they demand to know where their hand gliding team member is. The girl's name is Koruri, and she is being held hostage by Team Autumn and Spring members. Just then, some bats attack them and some team members get seriously hurt. Haru frees Koruri, and she goes to get help from her team. She takes her teammate, and they go back to cure the hurt woman. The man, named Ban, is healing the specialist of the group. He uses his first aid kit to quickly fix up everyone. Once that is done, Koruri tells them that the bats have been an issue for a long time. So they decide to work together to get rid of the bats. They use fire to smoke out the bats from their caves. Then, Koruri uses her hand glider to lure them to a place with hardened wood. Haru hits the wood, which now creates a high-pitched metallic sound. The bats get unconscious, and giant monitor lizards eat them. At the seal ship, Hibari says that she and her cousin Hotaru can sometimes sense what is happening to each other. Hibari comes from an old and noble family, and she acts like a little boss, making commands to Semimaru and Natsu. Meanwhile, the combined groups start working together. Since Team Spring and Team Autumn have many members without special talents, they are put on mundane jobs, like chopping wood and cleaning latrines. That night, Haru goes to the metal rods to play his music. Koruri also comes to listen. She falls in love when Haru plays Beethoven's Moonlight Sonata under the moonlight. But this makes the leader of Summer-A, Ango, protective of Koruri, and he punches Haru. But Koruri steps in between and says that Ango can't decide whom she decides to be friends with. Later, some of Summer-A, Autumn, and Spring teams go to look for water. When Haru is alone, someone attacks him and throws him into the swamp. Hana and Takahiro go to look, while Ango avoids saying anything. Very sus. Hana and Takahiro hear the sound of sticks and they follow it. Haru is almost drowning, but Hana saves him just in time. Hana accuses Ango of sending someone to attack Haru. They almost get into a fight until Summer-A notices Hana's knife, as they use similar ones. Hana says that it's her father's, Professor Takashi's, and she shows them the picture that she found. Team Summer-A is shook. Professor Takashi was one of their supervisors during their training, and they all hate him for the difficult training that he put them through. Hana herself is confused because she did not know that her father was involved in the Seven Seeds project. Ango thinks about all the training that he and his friends did. Ever since they were children, they were prepared for the meteor apocalypse. Ango had a best friend named Shigeru, but he struggled with the training. Meanwhile, Ango and another boy named Ryo were the best performers in every aspect. Only the best 7 would be chosen, while the ones who did not perform well were sent away. So Ango is constantly worried about Shigeru. One day, Ango gets into trouble for beating up a supervisor. As punishment, he is put in a vat full of animal blood and bones. There, he sees a hand, and that hand has a bracelet, and that bracelet belonged to one of the girls that were sent away. Ango realizes that the kids who are sent away are actually killed and turned into fertilizers. Absolutely brutal, man! When Ango goes back, he immediately commands Shigeru to work harder, but he does not reveal what he saw. Ango himself becomes more serious and dedicates himself to work harder and harder. Shigeru sees the talent gap between himself and Ango increasing day by day. He hates being dependent on Ango so much that he starts distancing himself from him. Over time, little accidents happen all over the facility, and the kids begin to die one by one. One day, their building catches fire. Everyone realizes that this is the final test for survival. So, Ango goes and collects supplies. He brings supplies for Shigeru as well, who gets even more disappointed in himself. The students disperse everywhere. Over time, due to various factors, the students die one by one. Koruri's best friend is also crushed under a rock, and she almost goes crazy. Shigeru still hates the fact that Ango does everything for him. He yells at Ango for treating him like an inferior person. Other members also go through a lot of pain and hardships. Professor Takashi goes to Ango and says that 5 people have been already selected. Only 2 spots are left remaining for Ango, Shigeru, and Ryo, meaning one of them must die. Elsewhere, a guy named Ukai finds Shigeru. He has a grudge against Ango for taking 2 sets of supplies, so he kidnaps Shigeru. Then he uses Morse to lure Ango. Ryo also sees this. When Ango approaches, Ukai pushes him into a hole. Shigeru tries to help, but Ukai has a gun. Shigeru says that Ango is a highly skilled person who deserves to go to the future. Ryo agrees with him, and he throws a bomb into the fire. Shigeru escapes Ukai. Meanwhile, down in the hole, Ango has injured his leg, so he can't climb up. So Shigeru goes in to save him. Ryo also follows to help, but suddenly the professors cut their ropes. Shigeru is determined to save Ango, so he creates a system of climbing ropes to bring him up. However, he and Ango trip and they both dangle on the ropes. Ryo goes to help them, but then he realizes that he must make a decision. So he cuts Shigeru's ropes. Shigeru smiles as he falls, happy that he could finally do something for Ango. Seeing this, Takashi congratulates Ryo and Ango for being the last 2 people to be selected. However, the 7 students are absolutely traumatized. None of them wants to continue with the project, but a supervisor named Unami slaps them and forces them into cryogenic sleep. And that is why, when they woke up, they killed him. Ango is still traumatized by the whole thing. Team Samurai asks Hana if she knows a man named Kaname, who is one of the leaders of the 7 Seeds project. They say that the leaders secretly added a person called the Reaper to one of the groups, and this person called Kaname could be it. The job of the Reaper is to attack the team so that they will get stronger. But no one knows who the Reaper is among us. I mean, among them. Ango suspects the Reaper to be Hana because she is Professor Takashi's daughter. So he gives her more chores as a way of indirect punishment. Hana decides to leave the group because she is being treated like an outcast. Haru and Takahiro also agree to come with her, but Ango stops her and forces her into a room, saying that she will pay back for everything that her father did. Ango undresses her and tries to force his way on her, but another Samurai member named Madonna comes and stops him. Hana takes this chance to run away. So Ango kisses Madonna, much to her shock. I mean, this kid is so turned on. Meanwhile, Hana stops at a secluded place and starts crying because of what just happened. She thinks back to the time when Arashi saved her from some bullies. Meanwhile, the seal gets stuck on something and is unable to move. So Arashi and the others go to land where they find Team Autumn's abandoned village. As they investigate, Natsu finds the note that Hana left for Arashi, but she hides it. However, Semimaru snatches the letter and finds out the truth. Semimaru is actually supportive of her feelings for Arashi, but he says that she must do the right thing by giving Arashi the letter. Just then, Matsuri and Mozu arrive at the scene. She tells them that Botan and the others are about to die. They all go to that place and they dig out the Summer Bee members from where they were stuck. Hotaru and her spoiled brat cousin, Hibari, also meet up. While Hotaru is excited, Hibari still acts cold and bossy with her. Later, while they're bathing, Semimaru gets excited seeing Botan's naked form. Botan is okay with it, as long as Semimaru is willing to be a father. But Semimaru is not ready for that kind of commitment. He might just end up going on a long trip to buy milk. Then, Botan tells Mozu about her miscarriage and her divorce from her husband, but she still wishes her ex-husband to be happy. Natsu thinks about how Botan wished happiness to her former husband. So she goes and gives the letter to Arashi. Semimaru quickly saves her by saying that he was the one hiding the letter. Elsewhere, Hana, Takahiro, and Haru prepare to leave. The other girls from Team Autumn don't want her to leave, but they respect her decision. Just as she's about to sneak out, Ryo comes in, saying that they're going on a mission in deep within a cave to collect fresh water, and he commands Hana to come along. Hope you enjoyed part 1. If this video gets 2,500 likes, I will continue to part 2. See you on the next one.